Welcome back to every naval battle in history. Last episode, the Peloponnesian War ended in a dramatic final victory to Sparta, the humiliation of Athens, the destruction of Athens' defences, and the installation of 30 tyrants from aristocratic families friendly to Sparta. So, history ended, eh? As you might have guessed, history keeps on happening. Sparta, with the aid of rivers of Persian gold, had built a navy and after much struggle destroyed Athens at sea. The problem for Sparta was that as a society with no cash money, they suddenly both had a lot of it coming in and a lot going out. The traditional method of trading land and slaves wasn't much help when a trireme oarsman wanted to know where his 4 obols a day were at. Even worse, some merchant wants paying for 50 barrels of pitch your ships need, and he doesn't want slaves. You don't want to trade him sacred Spartan land. He probably doesn't even want coin as he'd prefer a redeemable letter of credit, and anyway the Messenians can't be made to make slaves any faster than they have done for the long centuries of their oppression. It's a matter of historical record that some Spartan leaders ran off to parts unknown with chests of gold coins. In part one has to suspect because the society didn't have robust measures for handling money. The Spartans had gone all in with the Persians to take down Athens. But Persia was a big place, and not at all monolithic. Sparta's alliance was a very personal one between their leader Lysander and Cyrus, one of the sons of Darius II. When Cyrus went to war with his brothers for the Persian throne, the Spartans had supported him, which put them on the losing side of the Persian Civil War. And so, despite trying to be good allies throughout, they ended up back in the Persian naughty corner when Artaxerxes II triumphed over his brother Cyrus. Spartan king Agesilaus, despite winning a series of battles on the Asian mainland, was driven out by guile and bribery, lamenting, "I have been driven out by 10,000 Persian archers." The in-question archers were to be found on the Persian gold coins, the darics. Meanwhile, Athens had been increasingly ungovernable and unhappy under the rule of the Spartan-appointed tyrants. Our old friend Thrasybulus led an Athenian democratic resistance, which eventually succeeded in reinstating democracy and started refortifying Athens. Spartan hero Lysander would die in the Battle of Haliartus, the fuse-lighting event of the Corinthian War in 395 BCE. Persian influence under Artaxerxes II created a coalition of Thebes, Athens, Corinth, and Argos to take down Sparta. With increasing difficulty funding their fleet without Cyrus chipping in the entire tax revenues of Asia Minor, roughly modern-day Turkey, the Spartan fleet made to return to the Greek mainland to aid in the new war. A Spartan force of 85 triremes ran into a Persian fleet of Phoenicians, note how the Phoenicians wisely stayed out of the Peloponnesian War, and mercenary Greeks, who in large part had Athenian accents and were commanded by the storied Athenian Admiral Conon, who had been hiding out at the Persian court since the disaster at Aegospotami. Just off Cnidus, the Spartan commander Pisander died fighting on his ship as 50 Spartan ships were captured out of 80 in the force. The Athenian Conon proceeded to flip most of the Greek cities on the Turkish shore to Persian rule, under local democratic control, and this was the end of Spartan sea power. The Corinthian War would rage on by land until 387 BCE, when all parties agreed to the King's Peace, which implicitly acknowledged Artaxerxes II as the king. Here's the text of the treaty, the product of a time when these things were kept short. King Artaxerxes thinks it just that the cities in Asia should belong to him, as well as Clazomenae and Cyprus among the islands, and that the other Greek cities, both small and great, should be left autonomous, except Lemnos, Imbros, and Skryos, and these should belong as of old to the Athenians. But whichever of the two parties does not accept this peace, upon them I will make war, in company with those who desire this arrangement, both by land and sea, with ships and with money. This gave back some territory to Athens, but basically forbade the forming of large alliance structures like the Delian League. It also implicitly made Sparta the dominant power in Greece. The peace held for roughly 10 years. Strap in, folks, we've got lots more to cover as we take on every naval battle in history. Smash those like and subscribe buttons, you don't want to get left behind.